Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I'm filming this over the weekend, and I'll be just explaining how to organize your trading day. So, I'm gonna bring up a chart that I made for this video. So, this is part of my trading blueprint, how I organize my entire trading day. So quickly explaining it, this is 9:30, 10:30 a.m., 11:30, and these are the kind of trades that I'm looking for depending what time it is during the day. So as you can see, from 9:30 to 10 a.m., I'm looking for panics. From 9:45 to about 10, 11 a.m., I'm looking for pullbacks or breakouts or whatever. So, but before I get into the content of exactly what this chart is, when it works, when it doesn't work, I just want to encourage you guys to write down your trading blueprint, like your strategy. I noticed that when I started writing everything down, I was able to improve my trading game a ton. So, for example, Albert Einstein, one of his quotes is, "If you can't explain something simply, you probably don't understand it well enough." So years ago, when I was trying to write down my trading strategy, everything, I realized that there were things that I was getting stuck at that I didn't know what to write down because I just didn't understand it well enough. And that's one of the things that will help you when you write stuff down. It'll open up the holes in your game, to see where you're struggling, where you might be falling behind, where you might not understand a certain concept. But once you start understanding everything, once you can kind of write it down, you can zoom out and look at it as a whole and then start tweaking certain parts of your strategy, certain areas of it to make it better. So this is part of my strategy right here. This has to do with how I organize my entire day. And the reason why I think having a chart like this is important is because I found myself a lot of the times at, let's say, 10:45 a.m., for example, I'm looking for what's ever hot. And that led me into a lot of emotional trading. That led me into a lot of just jumping on whatever I can find at that time. It led me into a lot of over trading as well. So then I'm like, if I take everything that I'm good at, so for example, different patterns that I'm good at, panics, pullbacks, breakouts, if I take all these patterns, kind of mix it in with how well I do on them and everything, I can kind of create a chart that'll guide me through the day. And so before I explain the content of it again, some of you guys are probably thinking, man, this chart doesn't work because news can pop out at any time about a company. And the thing is, you're right. So I just want to address that. So for example, I'll bring up a chart pattern right here. So this is WKHS. And this is the intraday chart from 9:30 a.m. to market close. And right here, so news came out, brand new news about the company, about their trucks at 2:20ish p.m. And obviously nobody expected that news to come out at that point. So that's kind of where my chart that I showed you guys doesn't work, because you can't really anticipate brand new news coming out at random parts of the day, right? So sometimes you are playing random charts in certain time frames or whatever, but generally speaking, for the most part, I personally like to stick to a certain plan or a certain guideline. So I'll just kind of explain what this is right here. So from 9:30 a.m. to about 10 a.m., I'm really good at panics, so that's why I added in panics into this chart right here. And when I look at panics, they usually happen in the morning. That's why from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm only focusing on panics pretty much. That means that once that's kind of done at 10 a.m. or whatever, I'm not just kind of blowing around in the wind trying to look at whatever is hot. Now I'm looking at what's next. Okay, I'm pullbacks are next. There was a stock that probably spiked 9:50ish a.m. They kind of died down, and now I'm looking for pullbacks. I want to get in on a dip for a breakout. So from around 9:45 to 11 a.m., I'm looking for pullbacks to maybe get in on a nice breakout or whatever. Midday comes, and I usually don't like trading. I'll explain what only small position means later, but midday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., tons of fake outs, volume dies down, very unpredictable at at certain times. So I just decided that, you know what, I'm gonna go grab lunch. Whatever I need to do for that day, I'm just gonna try and get it done midday. I'll study and I'll update my watch list. So there are a lot of stocks that might spike in the morning and they'll go from green to red and they'll just become garbage by like, let's say 11 a.m. So when I say update watch list, those like stocks that are pretty much garbage, that I don't like those chart patterns anymore, I'm going to cross it off my list so that I just don't waste time looking at it again. And if they become hot again, I mean, they'll pop up on my radar again. But just organizing, spending this time to kind of prep for the afternoon. What only small position means is if I'm anticipating a breakout. So let's say there is a morning a morning spike. There is a pullback and it's holding its half its gain like midday. I might enter in on a small speculative position, like somewhere in midday, just to average into my position. But that's kind of going more towards how I play certain chart patterns, how I play anticipated breakouts, which other videos cover, so go check those out. I might link those in the description. But so that's my midday right there. And from 1:30 p.m. all the way to market close, I'm looking for anticipated breakouts and possibly overnight plays for the gap up. Now, this is kind of where there's a twist. So let's say, for example, there's an awesome bullish intraday chart. It's nice on the daily chart as well, maybe like a technical breakout, something like that. And I'm planning on holding it overnight. The issue is, at market open, I'm looking for panics. So it's almost like, do I play an overnight play for it to gap up and possibly spike in the morning? Or do I sacrifice that and focus back on panics? Because those are two conflicting kind of patterns at the same time frame. You know what I mean? So I decided that the only overnight plays that I'm going to get in on is if I'm expecting it to gap up, possibly after hours or pre-market, and I'm probably going to get out before market open so that I can focus on morning panics at 9:30 a.m. That's just what works for me. Everyone is different. Maybe your strength is playing morning spikes and you suck at morning panics. So you'll kind of like customize this chart, kind of change it up. This goes back to what I said earlier, that this is like a mixture of everything, of where certain patterns fall in, how well I do on them and whatever. So this is a mixture of everything. So that's why I'm focusing on panics in the morning rather than trying to catch a spike in the morning. And also I have to mention that not all of my patterns I included in this chart right now. There's a ton of stuff that I missed here. Like for example, I'll play a morning fade up until like 11:30 a.m. There's something I call the escalator that I'll kind of be looking at all day, might get in midday as well. So in short, this chart is missing a lot of patterns that I'm playing. It's just a rough guideline to show you guys maybe how to do your own with whatever works for you. So yeah, just take this as a rough guideline to follow throughout the day, just so you're not wasting time, that you're pretty much like staying focused no matter what time of the day it is. And yeah, thank you for listening. Like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.